The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he anticipates that Israel will have overall security responsibility in Gaza after the conflict with Hamas ends. Speaking to US television, Mr. Netanyahu said it would be for an indefinite period. He also repeated there would be no ceasefire until the Israeli hostages were released by Hamas. After a meeting behind closed doors of the UN Security Council, the French ambassador to the United Nations, Nicolas de Rivière, called for a humanitarian truce.
This truce must be durable and sustained. It is absolutely necessary and must lead to a ceasefire. Safe humanitarian access to the Gaza Strip must also be guaranteed in order to increase the number of humanitarian convoys.
The King will outline the government's plans in a speech to Parliament later this morning. It will be the first King's speech in more than 70 years. Our political editor Chris Mason says around 20 bills will be announced.
Quite a focus on crime. One of the ideas using reasonable force to ensure that criminals are in the dock for sentencing in England and Wales, removing the need for a search warrant in England and Wales to go into a property if there is a reasonable expectation that there is something in there that the police would like. So a phone, for instance, with a locator that says it's there. Banning no-fault evictions for renters in England. Banning leaseholds for new homes in England and Wales.
Donald Trump has repeatedly clashed with the judge while giving evidence in his civil fraud trial in New York. He was eventually told to answer the question, no speeches. He denies massively inflating the value of his properties in order to secure favourable loans. Hundreds of thousands of women in England are going to be offered a drug which could substantially reduce their risk of developing breast cancer. Trials have shown that anastrozole, a hormone therapy used to treat the disease, can also prevent cases. The charity Breast Cancer Now has described it as a major step forward. Here's our health reporter Annabelle Rackham.
NHS England estimates that there are nearly 300,000 women in the UK at moderate or high risk of breast cancer, and using this drug could reduce incidence of the disease by half. It will be offered to postmenopausal women with a family history of breast cancer and could help save the NHS millions of pounds in cancer treatment costs. Nearly 50,000 people in England are diagnosed with breast cancer each year. The Health Minister, Will Quince, said he was delighted that the drug had been approved to help prevent what he called this cruel disease, after being used as a breast cancer treatment for many years.
For the first time in its 360-year history, the Post Office will let people send packages in branch with a company other than Royal Mail. Customers in selected stores will be able to choose DPD or Every instead when the service begins in time for the peak Christmas delivery season.